Yesterday we talked about how to write out your winning coalitions. Remember, when we added them together, they have to equal the quota or more. Now we need to talk about being a critical player. Okay, a critical player is a person in that winning coalition. If I remove them and pretend they're not there, if my coalition now loses, that player is critical. Okay, so for instance, considering the following winning coalitions, who is critical? So my goal in this one is to get a 14. Well, I can put 10 and 8 together. That gives me 18, right? Mm-hmm. What if, for instance, I take out 10? Can 8 win on its own?
No.
No. 10 is critical.
Can you say the same thing about 8?
You can say the same thing about 8. If I take away 8, can 10 win on its own? No. So 8 and 10 are both critical. It's that person, if I remove it from the winning coalition and now my coalition loses, I am a critical person. I need those votes to win. If I take away 10 out of 10 and 6, can 6 win on its own? No. 10 is critical. If I take away 6, can 10 win on its own?
No.
No. 6 is also critical. Who said what's a coalition? A coalition is anybody that I can put together that gives, well, a winning coalition is anybody I can put together that meets my quota. A coalition is just a group of people. Okay, so it could be you by yourself, or it could be you and Mr. Smith together, or it could be a group of 3. It could be Ziomara, Trey, and Troya together.
Okay. Is there ever going to be one number that meets the coalition? Or not
We're going to talk about that today, yes. They're called the dictator. We'll talk about that today. 8 and 6. If I remove 8, does 6 win on its own?
No.
No. If I remove 6, does 8 win on its own?
No.
No. Both of them are critical. Okay. 10, 8, and 3.
10 and 8 are critical.
If I get rid of 10, can 8 and 3 win on their own?
No.
No. So 10 is critical. If I get rid of 8, can 10 and 3 win on their own?
No.
No. But if I remove 3, can 10 and 8 win?
Yeah.
Yes. So 3 is not critical. Okay, your only 2 that are critical in that one are 10 and 8.
Yeah.
But you can only base it off of like if one's removed, not 2.
Yes, one at a time. Remove them one at a time. So take a look at your next one. 10, 6, and 3. If I remove 10, can 6 and 3 win?
No.
No. What if I remove 6? No.
Yes.
What if I move 3?
Yes.
Yes, we're good. Okay. 8, 6, and 3. Who's critical?
8 and 6.
8 and 6. If I remove 3, 8 and 6 can win on their own. What about 10, 8, 6, and 3?
10 is critical.
10 and 8.
No. 10 and 8.
What'd you say, Mr. Rames?
No.
None of them.
But
Take a look. If I remove 10, that leaves 8, 6, and 3, which is what?
17.
17. Is that higher than 14? Okay. As soon as you reach your first non-critical player, that means everybody after it's not critical either. So that tells you can stop right there. However, that only works if these are in descending order. If you go from your highest number to your smallest number. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, number 2. What is my goal? What's my quota here? 8. What does this first coalition equal?
8.
8. When they equal your quota, every player is critical. You can't remove one of them. Okay, because it's exactly 8. There's no way to remove anybody. 4, 3, and 2. Who's critical? All of them again. And what about 4, 3, 2, and 1?
4, 3, and 2.
4, 3, 2 is not.
Oh, 4, 3, and 1. Well, 4 and 3 is only 7.
I understand that, but we're not circling what's going to equal it.
But doesn't it have to be equal or above? That's what I thought.
If I remove 4, 3, 2, and 1 give me 6. That makes 4 critical.
Oh.
If I remove 3, 4, 2, and 1 only give me 7. That makes 3 critical. But if I remove 2, 4, 3, and 1 give me 8.
Okay.
So I don't have any critical players after that. Okay.
Makes sense.
Number 3 now. My goal is 10. Can I remove 8 or 6 in that first coalition?
No.
No. You need both of them to at least hit 10. They're both critical. What about 8 and 4?
They're the same.
Both are critical. Normally, in the situation of 2, both players are going to be critical. The only time it is not is if you have a dictator, which is somebody that hits the quota or more. So 6 and 4 are both critical. What about 8, 6, and 1? 8 and 6. 1 doesn't matter. 8 and 6 can win without it. What about 8, 6, and 4? None of them. If I erase 8, 6, and 4 hit 10. They match. There is no critical player in 8, 6, and 4. What about 8, 4, and 1? 8 is critical. 4 is also critical. If you remove 4, you only have 8 and 1, which gives me 9. 6, 4, and 1. 6 and 4. The only one that's not critical is 1. And finally, 8, 6, 4, and 1. None of them. Questions on how to find a critical player? All right. We need to talk about our 3 power definitions. We have a dictator, which means your player's weight is greater than or equal to.
Y'all get a new notes package? Yeah.
I said, you grab your stuff from over there, my friend. Okay. Your player's weight is greater than or equal to the quota. So they have all the power. So if they say yes, we're going with yes. If they say no, we're going with no. You're stuck with whatever they want. So in this example, player 1 is my dictator. Player 1 has 20, a weight of 20. They reach that 18 or higher. A dummy is any weight that doesn't affect the outcome. They're powerless to stop anything. So the easiest way to find yourself a dummy is to go through. Give me my winning coalition. What can I pair together that'll win?
6 and 3.
6 and 3 and 6, 3, and 1. Okay, so if we go through, who's critical out of 6 and 3?
6 and 3.
6 and 3. 6 can't win by itself. 3 can't win by itself. Who's critical in 6, 3, and 1?
1.
No,
All
6.
of them.
6 and 3 only. Remember, if I remove 1, 6 and 3 give me 9. That's higher than 8. So, is there any player that was never ever critical? Player 3. Player 3 is your dummy. The player that is never ever critical is your dummy. Please get used to the habit of not calling it 1. That is player 3. They're in the 3rd position. If you need to label these, player 1, player 2, player 3, please do so. Okay. Get out of the habit of calling player 1 6 and player 2 3. That is the weight of the players. Okay. The last one. Who has veto power? That means your quota cannot be met unless the player votes in favor of. In other words, that player must be critical in every coalition they are in. So let's go through. What are my coalitions for this one? What can I put together?
5, 4, 3.
Didn't mean to go that far. You said 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 2,
5, 4, 3, 2.
and then 5, 4, 3, 2. Is that it?
Wait.
can't do 5, 3, 2. You can't do 4, 3, 2. All right. In this first one, 5, 4, and 3. Is 5 critical? Yes. Is 4 critical?
Yes.
Yes. Is 3 critical?
Yes.
Yes. What about 5, 4, 2?
Yeah.
Everybody again. What about 5, 3, 2? Everybody again. What about 5, 4, 3, 2? 5 is critical. That's 7, 9. 4 is not critical though. Careful. If I remove 4, 5 plus 3 plus 2 gives me 10. Okay, so 5 is the only one critical. Who is critical in every coalition that they're in? 5. So player 1 has veto power. They must be circled or underlined or highlighted, whatever you want to do, in every coalition that they are in.
How about 3 on the last one?
Got what?
How about 3 on the platform?
This one?
Yeah.
If I remove 3,
Oh, yeah.
5 plus 4 is 9, plus 2 is 11. That gives me more than 10. Again, once you figure out that this one's not critical, nothing below it will be, as long as it's in defense. Anybody else question? Okay, let's practice.
Do we have to put it in order?
Descending order is the easiest way to do it. I would not put it out of order. Okay, so example number 1. First thing we have to do is list out all of our winning coalitions. Who can I put here? 12. Who else can I pair? 12 and 5. 12 and 4. 12, 5, 4. Don't forget your grand coalition. Okay. Obviously, if there's only one player, they are critical. 12 is critical by itself. If I remove 12, there's no points there. Who's critical out of 12 and 5?
12.
Who's critical out of 12 and 4?
12.
What about 12, 5, and 4?
12.
Fantastic.
Veto power.
So, veto power. Player 1 has veto power. They're critical in every one. What else do we know? Who? Player 1 is your dictator.
5 and 4, the dummy.
Okay. Player 2 and player 3 are your dummies. I never circled a 5, nor did I ever circle a 4. So they are your dummies. Okay. We're going to go across to example 4 because it was easier for me to put it in the smart notebook that way. So who can I pair together? And actually, let me stop you here. Be careful when you have the same number twice. This is player 1, so I'm going to label it 5 sub 1. This is player 2, so I'm going to do 5 sub 2. Okay? So when I put my winning coalitions together, I can put player 1 with player 3 and player 2 with player 3. Those are 2 different coalitions. So please be careful when you have double numbers. I would sub them. Okay? So I can put 5 and 1 together, 5 and 2 together, 5 and 5 together, and 5, 5, and 1 together.
Oh, if it's 2 of the same numbers, you put a 1 and 2?
Oh, no.
You know what nothing's good, man.
Okay. If I have 5 and 1, who's critical? Both. Remember, your job is to get 6. If I take anybody out of 5 and 1, they're both critical. They equal 6. So 5 and 1 are both critical here too. Both in 5 and 5 as well.
So 5 has veto power.
Hold on. We're not done. What about 5, 5, and 1?
5 and 1.
I guess you should probably
Hold
do
on.
it twice, right?
If I take away this person, can 5 and 1 win on their own?
Yeah.
Nobody's critical there. There is no critical.
Okay.
Okay. So first off, do I have a dictator?
No.
No, nobody can win on their own.
No.
Do I have a dummy? Is there anybody that was never ever circled?
No.
No, we have no dummy either. Veto power. Do I have somebody that was circled every time?
Nope.
No, because of that last one. We don't have anybody with veto power either. Okay. Example 2. I need winning coalitions first. 14 and 8. 14 and 7. 14, 8 and 7.
8 and 7.
8 and 7 give you 15. Who's critical out of 14 and 8? Both. What about 14 and 7? Both. What about 8 and 7? Both. What about the last one? If I remove 14, 8 and 7 can't win? It can. 14 is not critical. If 14 is not critical, that means everything below it is not critical. So, do I have a dictator?
No.
No. Do I have any dummies?
No.
No. Do I have any veto power?
Nope.
That's it. Okay. The biggest, no, this doesn't get any harder. This does not get any harder. The hardest part of this is coming up with these stupid things. Okay, coming up with these coalitions, your winning coalitions, is the hardest that this gets. Okay, so my next one, I'm trying to reach 6. 4, 1, 1. That's it. Everybody is needed, which makes them all critical. I need each and every one of these to reach 6. It equals 6. Do I have a dictator? No. Do I have dummies? No. Who has veto power? Absolutely everybody. Nobody can win without the other.
Boy.
Example 3. Who can I pair together?
4 and 2.
4 and 2. 4, 2, 1. Who's critical out of 4 and 2?
4 and 2.
Both of them. What about 4, 2, and 1?
4 and 2.
4 and 2. Okay, 1 is the only one not critical. If I remove 1, 4 and 2 equals 6. Do I have a dictator?
No.
No. Do I have dummies?
Yeah.
Who?
3.
Player 3 is my dummy. They're not circled ever. Do I have anybody with veto power?
Yes. Player 1.
Player 1 and player 2. Last one of these examples, and then all we need to talk about is Banzhaf power index.
So wait, that's the hard part.
No. No. I got you. I'm telling you. My last class went, that's all we needed to do after this? I got you. Example 6. Who can I put together to give me 11?
8 and 4.
8 and 4.
8 and 3.
8 and 3.
8, 4 and 3.
8, 4, 3. 8, 4, 1.
1.
You said 8, 3, 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
8, 4, 3, 1. And then all of them.
And then all of them. Did we miss any? No. I'm gonna check my paper. Just to double check. But I don't think we missed any. Like I said, this is the hardest part, is coming up with all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 on my paper. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We didn't miss any. Who's critical out of 8 and 4?
8.
8 and 4. What about 8 and 3?
8 and 3.
What about 8, 4, and 3?
8 and 3.
If 4 is not critical, 3 cannot be critical.
8.
Just 8.
Oh yeah. I get what you're saying.
Okay. What about 8, 4, and 1?
Wait.
Okay. Wait.
If you take out, okay, That's if you take out the 8, 4, and 3. If you take out the 4,
What's 8 and 3 give me?
11.
It hits your quota. So 4 is not critical.
okay.
And then if 4 is not critical, that means 3 is not critical. Okay. 8 and 4 are both critical in this one though. Okay, if I take away 8, 4 and 1 give me 5. If I take away 4, 8 and 1 only give me 9. But 8 and 4 together, when I remove 1, gives me 12. What about 8, 3, and 1?
8, 3, 8, 3.
8 and 3. And what about 8, 4, 3, and 1?
8, 8, 4. Just 8.
8 is critical. If
Oh,
I
yeah,
get rid of
never mind.
4, you've got 11, 12.
That's
Okay.
that's
So just 8. Literally. The way I did this when I first started teaching myself this, you guys have to realize when they gave me this class, I had no idea what discrete was. I literally taught myself the lesson and came in and taught them on a daily until I learned the material. I literally, when I wrote this down on my paper, I would literally cover this up and go 4 plus 3 is 7. Critical. 8 and 3 is 11. Not critical.
and however you got to
Okay.
do it.
However you need to do it to understand it, I don't care. The goal is understanding. So no matter what you need to do, if you need to erase it with an eraser and then write it back in, I don't care. Okay. Do I have a dictator here? No. Do I have dummies?
3. No, 1.
Just one. So that's player 4. And do I have veto power?
8.
Yeah.
Player 1, all of your 8s are circled. So player 1 has veto. Any questions?
I'm so happy right now.
You're so happy.
Because, like, I'm getting mad. And then let me sign up my brother's game today.
Because I'm happy. All right. Because you're happy, and we've done this 15,000 times already, we're not going to do it again. We're going to skip this section. All we had to do here was write down your winning coalitions and circle your critical players. So we're going to skip that section. Here is how you find the last part, the Banzhaf power index. Okay, step 1 says, find all the winning coalitions. Well, guess what? You know how to do that. Step 2 says, identify your critical players. We've done that too. Okay, this is where it changes. And instead of confusing you with all this, we're just going to move on to an example. So,
What is that symbol?
what?
I'm confused.
What symbol? This?
Backwards Egyptian.
That is the sum.
What?
That's the symbol for the sum.
So, like, if
Haven't said anything.
we'll talk more about this later when we get into geometric and arithmetic sequences.
Oh, that sounds
I'm
hard.
gonna be out.
Arithmetic sequences 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. It goes up by
Oh, that's
2s.
easy.
Geometric sequences 1, 3, 9, 27. It's multiplied by 3. Don't panic because I pull out the big old math word. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so for this one, my goal is a 10. Give me all of my winning coalitions. That's step 1.
Why is it BI? Why is it the representation of
Player 1.
or like B? No, B, guys. BI.
Because it's Banzhaf power index.
Oh,
So the B represents Banzhaf and the I represents.
I'm so trying to get Joe's name.
Oh, tomorrow we're doing Shapely Shoebank.
What's that?
Okay,
I'm Jewish.
focus on today before y'all have a mental breakdown. Okay, my goal is to reach 10. I've got players with votes of 8, 4, and 1. Give me my winning coalitions. 8 and 4. 8, 4, and 1. Sorry, I didn't leave you a lot of room. I left me lots of room. Yeah, I like it. Okay, who's critical out of 8 and 4?
8, 4.
8 and 4. Who's critical out of 8, 4, and 1?
8
and
4.
8 and 4. Okay. How many times did I circle player 1 that has a weight of 8?
Twice.
2. How many times did I circle player 2 that has a weight of 4?
2.
And player 3?
0.
How many times did I have critical players then? Total?
Twice. 1.
Total. Add them up.
I can't be wrong. No,
So 2 plus 2 plus 0 is 4, which means player 1 was critical 2 out of 4 times, or 1/2. Player 2 was critical 2 out of 4 times, or 1/2. Player 3 was critical 0 times.
Equals 1.
That's it. Drop the mic. We done. That's all there is. You can't break these ones. These are not like Miss Wall. Miss Wall, you smack it wrong off a board and it breaks. These I can launch across the room and they still work. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Once you come up with your winning coalitions, you find out your critical players. It's how many times are they critical out of the total amount of times. Okay, so let's try this next one. I need to reach 101. What can I put together?
99,
98.
99, 98.
98, 3.
99, 3, 98, 3, and 99, 98, and 3. If I pair 99 and 98 together, who is critical? Both are. What about 99 and 3? What about 98 and 3? What about 99, 98, and 3?
99 and 98.
Wait a minute, they're all critical.
Wait a minute.
No.
Wait a minute.
None of them. If I remove 99, what's 98 plus 3? 101.
You already got it.
So 99 is not critical. If 99 is not critical, all the numbers smaller than that are not critical. So how many times was player 1 critical that had a value of 99? Twice. What about player 2? Twice. Player 3? Twice for a total of 6. So this is 2 6 or 1/3. This is 2 6 or 1/3. This is 2 6 or 1/3.
That's it?
That's it. That's Banzhaf Power Index. Very difficult.
Give us a homework.
So we would have to draw that chart out.
Okay. You don't necessarily have to draw the chart out. Okay. I don't. So if you don't want to draw the chart out, this is what I do. First off, give me my winning coalitions. What can I pair together? Both. 3 and 1. 3, 2 and 1.
9. All
3.
3.
3. 3 is the only one critical here. Okay. So instead of doing the chart, I do it this way. Player 1, player 2, player 3. How many times did I circle player 1? 3 times. How many times did I circle player 2? Once. And what about player 3? Once. What's the total? 5. Out of 5, out of 5, out of 5. Okay. So you don't have to draw the chart. Try example 4 on your own and see what you come up with.
Okay.
Okay. Fantabulous.
Okay.
What the heck did we do in middle school? Okay, whatever. Don't laugh at me, Detroit. I had to put Michael's computer back because he doesn't like to. His laziness in life. He knows he's lazy. He tells me he's lazy.
Okay, coach.
if it's wrong.
It is Thursday. It is Thursday, and as of today, we have 79 school days to graduation.
Train is to
Don't
jail.
get sad because you're gonna miss me.
fractions.
Oh, I'm trying to kids enjoy.
That's all you need to say.
I ain't with the 3 in the morning.
Okay, start giving me my winning coalitions here.
5-4.
Wait, good morning, Grandma.
Hold on, Michael, I can't write that fast. 5 and 4, 5 and 3,
5,
3, 1.
5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 1,
5, 3,
5, 3, 1,
4, 3,
4, 3,
and
1,
then all
and then all of them. You guys got them all too. Okay, who's critical in 5 and 4? Both. What about 5 and 3? Both. What about 5, 4, and 3?
5.
Okay, what about 5, 4, and 1?
5 and 4.
5 and 4. What about 5, 3, and 1? 5 and 3. What about 4, 3, and 1? All of them. And 5, 4, 3, 1.
Just 5.
Just 5. So, somewhere list player 1. What?
All 5. You can take away copy of 4, 3. Yeah.
5 is not. You're right.
Yeesh.
We messed up. Skedios. Nice catch. Okay. Player 1 had a weight of 5. How many times was that critical?
5.
5 times. Player 2 was a 4.
3.
3 times. Player 2 was your 3. And player 4 was your 1. Once for a grand total of 12. So this is 5 out of 12. 3 out of 12, which is 1/4. They're both divisible by 3. Okay, so 3 out of 12, this one's 1/4, and this is 1 out of 12. Again, if you don't know how to reduce fractions, if you put it into your calculator, 4 divided by 12, and then hit math, and choose choice number 1, it changes it back to a fraction in reduced terms for you. So you always have that option. Again, there is no non-calculator section on this final. Yes, sir.
Oh, speaking of that, is this an MC final? Okay.
The only EOC in math right now is in Math 1. Everything else is in NC final exam. Math 1 is also the only one with non-calculator section. All right, let's wrap this up then. Okay, we already talked about be careful of repeating weights. Remember, if you've got 2 2s, use subscripts, 2 1 and 2 2, or you can even do 2A and 2B. I don't care what you do. Just do something to distinguish between player 3 and player 4. Okay? Each 2 is different. Okay, A and B is fine if you don't like to have all those numbers. Okay, you can draw, I don't care if you do 2 smiley face and 2 frowny face. Okay, as long as you know the difference between the two. Okay, do what you want. Okay, the last thing. Is there a way that we can find out how many coalitions there are? Between winning and losing, not just winning, all together. If I've got 1 player, my only possible coalition is that player by itself. So there is 1. Okay. If I have 1 player, the only coalition I can make is that player by themselves. If I've got 2 people, well, I can put player 1 by themselves, player 2 by themselves, or I can put player 1 and player 2 together.
He wasn't here.
He wasn't here when I did that. So these are supposed to be in those fancy little brackets that I can't draw, so you get squiggles out of me.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Why are you doing them?
Because that's what it's supposed to be in. Technically, when we did all this, this should have been in squiggles. And I didn't. I have a tendency of not drawing them because I don't like them.
I don't like
Okay, so there's 3 coalitions I can do with 2 players. Okay, what can I do with 3 players? Well, I can do 1 by themselves, 2 by themselves, 3 by themselves. Yes. I can do 1 and 2 together. I can do 1 and 3 together. I can do 2 and 3 together. And then all of them together. So there are a total of 7. Notice I stopped putting them in. I hate them. Okay. 4. I am not writing out all these possible combinations for 4. I will tell you that right now. There are a total of 15 coalitions for 4. Okay. You're going to see questions on your test that's going to say, if I have this many players, how many possible coalitions are there? Well, there's a equation for that. I suggest you put this on your note card when you get it for your test. It is 2 raised to the n minus 1. N represents how many players you have. So if I have 4 players, that's 2 to the 4th minus 1. Well, what's 2 to the 4th? 2 times 2 is? Times 2? Times 2? 16. 16 minus 1 is?
15.
That's where I got that from. Questions? Okay, your homework tonight is number 7, 11, 12, and 42.
Or the sale.
Why are you subtracting 1?
What was number 7 and 11?